just talking about whatever comes up this morning. And
Hey, Gary, thank you for being here. I'm looking forward to this conversation. We met at the men's group
yes,
here were we in the storeroom with the Coke machine, or were we over at Herschel's house?
I think we were at Larry's.
Oh, okay.
I think Larry's was the first one I went to.
Okay. This has been a kind of a
Yeah, they bounce
revolving thing.
around, and it's cool.
Yeah, and very interesting. I know, we met through that, through Larry and Arlberg, through CUL, Center for Universal Light, where you've been speaking lately. And I don't know if you know this, but you're now faculty.
Right.
That's how it works. Call the union about your paycheck.
Right. And I love that part of it too.
Yeah.
I get to feel a sense of home, a sense of family, and we all want to be needed. Okay, that's a basic. I don't care what people say. We all want to be loved. We all want to feel important, needed. It's my time to be. That's the Superman thing. You know, when the wife says, "I got a problem," okay, I can handle it. You know, you get to come to. That feels great.
Yeah.
And I can ride that wave I can surf that one. Okay.
Well, there's plenty to do, Gary.
I know.
So, most of my work, my adult work, in fact, I reflect on this now. I actually, a couple of topics, probably my notepad. I do keep a notepad, and getting older, my memories, working memory, and some struggles with that. Mainly, something comes by, I'm learning to write them down, bits and pieces, and use them for later. But when I speak with you, some of the bigger subjects, spirituality, the Tao and such, and you brought a very different perspective into our building of not only Tao, but we speak of things of prayer, which you offered that Taoists don't traditionally engage in. I'm kind of a mind what we see, and you were present with us on Sunday when we did a prayer session for somebody. And
Peggy.
Yeah.
Peggy Wolfgang.
Yeah.
And that was the scariest event that I've been involved in, because I tried to give her my energy so that she would have peace, so her operation will go and her recovery will go fine. I wanted to give her peace, and my hands started generating heat. And I've only felt that before when I was trying to work on myself. So I did something that was outside of my experience, okay? And that was scary, because I do not believe in prayer, but I will give everything I got. Because, I'm in control of me.
So what's your takeaway from the heat?
I gave her my energy, or I felt somebody's energy. I felt that.
Good or bad?
That was great. What are you kidding me, man? To be in a group and then to feel something on a level that was not just could be my imagination. I physically felt it. You can't beat that.
Was
That's
it fake?
awesome. You're not even with a big stick, okay?
We put the big stick down.
Right.
I have guitars laying around, but they're expensive.
Right. And I truly do not believe, I believe in the creation. I believe the Creator brought us and gave us and is this.
Okay.
The Creator is this. But I also believe that I can pray to this, because this will lightning strike me. This will tornado me. This will earthquake me. This don't care about me. Okay? This creation does its thing. And it gave me everything, and it's up to me to enjoy it. And be leery, and I am leery, and I help everyone I can. I do not try to change other people's beliefs, but when they ask me, I tell them the truth. I don't pray, because I don't believe there's nothing to pray to. It's here, and we got it, and everything you need, you got. This was here. It's here for you. That's That's how you evolved with this. This allowed us to evolve to where we are now. So this is everything we need.
You know, there's a lady that sits on Sunday, and our friend Larry, who is our platform assistant at CUL, when you refer to Larry, he calls her Mama Nanda. Nanda Kellogg
Yes.
is the mother of the former minister there. We had a unity service down there, and Reverend Bruce Kellogg, who I'm very well acquainted with, is Mama Nanda's mom, her son.
Right.
Mama Nanda, every morning, every Sunday morning, she speaks the daily word, and that comes from Unity Village.
Right.
Reverend Bruce used to say every Sunday, said it's all BS, belief system, and it's an inside job. Regardless, whoever's sitting there, whatever we're bringing into the room, and wherever it comes from, the book, that book, our own teachings, a download from on high, whatever it is, because it's coming from the inside out. So I think that leaves our responsibility
On the inside.
on the inside to do our work, but also it leaves that mystery of, I wonder how their work is going, prayer. I spoke to a lady. I'm involved with an organization called NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness.
Okay.
It's an international organization for advocacy for families and people that are dealing. We get out of the language of words like suffering. Things like try to say dealing with mental illness because of the stigma. People suffer cancer, but there's a different stigma in mental illness. And so I've been working with that group in family support group. And because the pressure when it's like, I describe it as herding cats. I've had issues with my mom, and she's been easy compared to some of the heartbreak of people with, diagnosed schizophrenia,
Right.
Things of that nature. And a lady afterwards, because I was just really struggling in this place this year. My mom just recently got her place in a group home. She's over there with strangers. It was not the plan. Buying a house, doing everything. You can lay out the plan, but if participant is not with the same playbook,
Right.
doesn't matter what you do, it's going to go down to. And I've been working with people for years trying to support them on their boundaries while not being able to maintain my own.
Right.
Because it's my family member. But this woman sat with me, lovely woman, outstanding, has 3 kids, all diagnosed with forms of bipolar, so she's dealing with a serious load. They're all out of the house. But she sat and started telling me about God, and her father's a minister of belief system, and her dad was into horses, and there are horses, and there are all, everything that your imagination would conjure will be waiting for you there if you don't screw up.
Right.
But I sat here understanding the heart, spirit, and soul of this woman. No, that's not something I accept.
Right.
Or, let me rephrase, I accepted it from her. I accepted for her, that's where she is. Probably
That's
a
her
big
comfort
community.
zone. Right.
But it's not hurting me. I know this woman well enough to know she'd give you your heart, and she doesn't sit there and unload with you her belief system.
Right.
And so I find some of the most loving, outstanding people with belief systems that are way off the chart.
There's got to be 8 billion different ones.
Yeah.
8,
Well,
because it's about
8 billion of us,
us.
and we're all a universe, yes?
Right.
Yeah,
There's got to be different
So
versions.
I was actually kind of reflecting when you came into that because of prayer. And I actually pulled some things because that has been a topic for Arvo, of prayer. What is prayer? We pray. We're praying over people, praying for people, for your soul. I mean, where does that put me? If I think I've got something to, I've got some words on your soul, man, I'm dealing with my own.
Right. And I think I told us, the group once, when we were in a men's group setting, I told them that I believe in atonement, and I try to...
I remember that.
I try to ease my mental burden by doing everything I possibly can positive for people.
You say, you just define what you mean by atonement, Gary. Is that amends?
Yeah, without admitting I was wrong. Because I did the best thing I could do at that time with the knowledge I had, and it was the right move.
At the time.
Now, I see that it was destructive. And now I seek to do positive moves. I look for win-win situations in every encounter.
Don't they call that zero sum in business?
Some, yeah.
I don't like that.
I gotta break even. I don't want to take from you. And I don't want to take from myself. So I want to do stuff that we will both come out okay, and I look for those things. Yin Yang always says that events constantly occur, and in any event, I've learned that there's going to be something that I'm going to benefit from. I don't care how you could say an event is negative, because they're not all negative. It's just your point of view, like the one I mentioned about America's growth.
Yeah.
Okay? It's your point of view. It's no good and no bad out here. There's if it's beneficial to you or it's harmful. So I look for that peace in that I'm going to grow from, because something's going to be there for me. So it always is, no matter what the event, and I've had my share of them over the years.
We've heard of a few of them.
Yeah, well, I think we all have.
Yeah.
And we get stuff from that.
Yeah.
I think I have, and I just treat it as, okay, I got another tool. And then there's going to be an application for this tool, so I'll keep it handy.
So we're still in Earth School.
Yeah, we never leave this until we stop being, and then there's all sorts of philosophies about what happens there. And then,
But when you came in, we were talking, and you were mentioning, learning and then the doing.
yeah,
And I had to laugh. I thought, being in education, for I worked in student services for 10 years in the San Francisco Bay Area, and we had the professional student, especially you get comfortable, especially at the university, and in Chico, California. It's a farm town, really interesting. College towns are usually fairly progressive and surrounded as a bastion of farmism. But yeah, I even saw myself up there. I went back there to go to school, and I got in the comfort zone. Man, I liked academia. Just being able to explore. But yeah, you sure get in that comfort zone. Yeah, okay, I'm a smart person on this particular subject. Does anybody care?
right.
Well, I can write, maybe, what do I do with this? I can go and write things down, maybe of some value to somebody else. Or no, I can just sit around, go down to PJ's, our local public house here, and sound very smart. But it doesn't matter, because people will just tune you out.
Right, because if you have real knowledge and you decide to do something with it, you can help the people around there.
Yeah.
And that was one of the scary things that happened to me in my life. I was an engineer. I had almost 40 years of being an engineer. I could have an idea in my head and learn how to articulate it and convey that information to other people to get funding to build it. And then I built it. And they sold it. We all prospered. I got the opportunity to travel the world.
And I got airbags in my car.
You see my point? I know if I can imagine it, I can create it. And that kind of stuff says to me, there's a power going on here. And it's inside me. It's inside you. It's not external. It's nothing in my opinion, that you pray to. It's something that you use, you call on, you develop, and you go for it. And to me, love is like that. Love ain't got no real definition, okay? It's got no physical form, you know? It's just kind of like the concept of God. It has no physical form.
Is love an emotion, or is it something larger
I
beyond?
think it's larger.
Yeah.
Because I can hate, that's an emotion. But, you know, I really think love goes beyond, because when you lose somebody, I lost a wife, and it's on the webpage. It's on the blog. I'll give you a link so you can go to it. And after many years of her, I think it's been like 13, 14 years now, I still smell her. I hear her. I'm with her sometimes at night in my dreams. I go in a store or a restaurant, and all those images and memories rush back. That's not grief. That's just plain love. And it goes way beyond what that emotional need that we felt. And the truth is, I didn't know what love is until I started liking me. That's when I was maybe 17, 18 years old. And then I realized, okay, Gary, this is what you are. You are not handicapped. You are not a cripple. You're not any less of a person than anybody else. You are different, and this is what it means to be you. Go get it. And I went after the world, and what I felt inside started attracting other people. And a gal popped up on my radar, and she just kept popping up, and finally she said, hey, let's get married. I never would have asked, you know, because I know I'm no prize bull. Okay, so I would never do that.
But he's knocking on your door.
It's knocking there and it's asking me, so okay. And that was such a great thing for me. That gave me even more inspiration. That allowed me to be the Superman. I could come to her aid when she ran into a problem that she couldn't handle, because she was a strong woman too. And she didn't come very often, you know. She handled her own business. She did her own. She was a professional, just like all the women in my life have been professional women. From my mother on down, you know. Even my daughter, she's an engineer down here in Tucson. Married a judge.
Really?
Okay. And my wife's daughter, she's a doctor. Okay, we got all sorts of. We have professional males and females in our family because we push education, we push self-pride. You know, love yourself. Once you do that, people are attracted to you. Then you can pick and choose. Okay.
On that topic, since you use yourself as a reference, and you offered this up publicly some weeks ago to us. Obviously, there in your telling, there were those in your childhood that didn't see quite so much success out in front of you, for you, the people, your guidance counselor, things of that. Did those kind of experiences, and we'll be real here. I'm very comfortable on this topic. I mean, the race issues, the things that we deal with, just the people issue. I mean, you can say race like it's a thing, like it's cancer, but it's still people. It's still stuff that's operating, it's bubbling up within people, wherever it comes from or whatever brought them to that place. It's there, and others of us have to deal with it. And you're a little kid, and you're getting that by the professionals that are paid to help you. Supposedly, in my coaching practice, I've been taught to find people's signature strengths.
Right.
Your strengths. Okay, you got some stuff. Maybe I'm not going to tell you you're not good at that. I am going to tell you you're really good at this. How's that working for you? What can we do with that? And yet, a lot of people could have failed. A lot of people, I mean, I struggled. I did not have the challenges you had as a child. Right. I had my own. But are those kind of experiences, I don't want to be stereotypical. Did that light a fire in you, or
My
did that
fire was
contribute?
lit when I was 4 years old.
Ah.
And I had polio.
Okay,
Went to the
yeah,
hospital. Okay.
So you're already
And-
resilient.
And this is, I hate telling this story, but it's the truth.
No, that's okay. We're alone here, Gary. Nobody else see it.
There was a racist night nurse. And every night when she would come on duty, she'd say, "Is that N-word still in there?" Because I was the only one that was black in there. And as kids, we were all dying. It was a children's hospital. And every night, he was dying. Okay, 1 or 2 empty beds in the morning. So I said, okay, I gotta learn to stay awake at night so I could fight. You know, I'm fighting this end thing. You know, I'm gonna stay awake and I'm gonna fight. So that event, her racism, I found a piece of it that was helpful to me. Taught me how to be strong and stay awake and fight. Every event brings me something that I need, and I learned that. So, and learned that, and then I told everybody the story about the little engine that could, that little book. My mother gave me that.
Good.
Yeah, man, that was another tool. So, okay, if I believe in myself, I can do it. I started off on that. I had just 2 tools, my strength and my belief.
And they've taken you here.
I'm here. I'm 70.
You're still
I'll be
standing,
70.
man.
Yep, I'll be 71 in October.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yep. And I picked up other tools along the way, and all of them seem to hinge upon my ability to process the information I see around me and believe I can do it. My self-confidence. Everything is pointing to the same thing. And believe me, I have looked for healing, since I was 4 or 5 years old. I've looked at every aspect of it. And the only thing I have found that actually works is when you believe in yourself, you do that. Look at Muhammad Ali. He told everybody, "I'm so pretty."
I wouldn't disagree with Champ.
I'm the greatest fighter in the world. And guess what? Now everybody agrees with me. When you really believe in yourself and it's not no part-time shit,
Yeah.
okay? It's real. There's no limits. You set your own limits,
Yeah.
And I realized that when my father had colon cancer, and I had to leave to go to see Aramco Oil Company in Saudi.
Interesting.
So they sent me tickets, said, "Come on and bring your equipment with you." So I shipped my stuff over, stayed there, at home with my father as long as I could. And then I flew over to Houston, and they had a 747 with the upper deck thing, of the oil company. And it was
the
5
luxury
of us. Yeah, it was 5 of us on the whole plane, man. So they flew me out there, and I stayed there a couple of months because I needed to train people there to work the equipment and repair the equipment. And eventually, the rich mind says, well, what about if it breaks down during an emergency? Well, you want to buy another one? Okay, so they bought those. The rich mind is different. So anyway, I'm just loving it over there. And my father hung on until I got back. Because they, people would call me from time to time and say, things ain't going well. And I said, and he was in there just bragging about me.
Yeah?
It was just
Nice.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I loved all of that. Because he never understood me. He always said, "What kind of son do I have?"
Looks like he turned out okay in the end for him.
For him, yeah.
Yeah.
And for my mother too. She was so proud. For a
Well,
while
that's
there,
good.
she was going around bragging with her group too. And I constantly tried to downplay that because my older brother, he wasn't getting no attention. You know, and you know, and he
Didn't
was
want to
my
be
brother.
the trophy son.
Right, I didn't.
Yeah.
And because he was a more physical guy, track,
Yeah.
football, baseball, you know, stuff like that. But, you know, they were saying, but here's over here, you know.
Where did you grow up? Gary?
Cleveland, Ohio.
Cleveland, Ohio.
Cleveland, Ohio. And then I got a bug in me around, I must have been 23, 24 years old. And I said, this is not enough for me. And I started looking around, and I went to, where was that? New Orleans. Because a mobile oil platform hired me as an engineer on their platform, and I raised it up, and they towed it out down to Mississippi
Yeah.
a bit, and they built more on it, and I
Wow, that's pretty
raised
exciting.
it up, and they dig it out a little more. I did that for a few months. The money was crazy. Okay, I loved it, but there wasn't no kind of life for me.
Yeah.
So I said, I came on back, and I looked around some more, and I said, I'm gonna move out west. The computers had just come out, you know. I had some computer electronics in my training and some programming. I knew a little bit about Fortran and
Those were the
COBOL.
times. So where did you land?
Here, I came to Phoenix.
Oh, okay.
I left because I went back and I took a job with the school board, Cleveland, and I was an engineer there. Okay, so I said, on one winter, it was a couple of feet of snow and 12 below zero, something crazy. So I just said, nah, and the airport opened up. So I left on my lunch break. And I came to Arizona here, Phoenix. I didn't know a soul. I rented a car, and then I drove around and found the apartment.
Yeah.
And then I called the job and said, hey, y'all, I quit. I'm in Phoenix.
Commute's too long.
Then I called the wife and said, hey, baby, I left. I'm in Phoenix.
Okay.
All right. So,
Wow, you definitely cut your ties.
the long, to make it short, she sold everything. She sold the house because we had bought a home back there. I thought I was moving and grooving. I was on a path towards something, but it was a path that wasn't my path. It was, this is what you do when you move and groove, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you buy a home, you buy cars,
Get the
you
better
raise
job.
kids. Yeah, you know, and that ain't what I want to do. I want adventure. And guess what I wound up with? Adventure. Okay. and I'm loving it. I don't regret it. I probably would never do a crazy move like that again, you know, because I was young and dumb and trusting.
Yeah.
And I believed in me.
If you took that risk, you had that energy
I
to
believed in
take the risk.
me. That was it all along. And you know, and that's what I hope to deliver as a messenger. That's why I speak. I hope to deliver that people will start to understand that if your belief is strong, your result will be what you're after. You know?
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and I don't know of any other thing that works.
Gary, what if your belief is strong, but it seems really out of sync or driven by fear, which we see so much of?
Then it's not true belief. It's, you got all of these hesitations, you're not believing. I'm not saying don't take a Pollyanna life is rosy view, but I'm saying strongly believe in you know, what your goal is. You set a goal and you you start developing ways to achieve your goal. I do. And
Your action plan.
yeah, and some of that is believing you could do it. And when you find doubt, you come to a root cause of what is that doubt? Why do I doubt this? And you find out why, and you correct that so that you're back on your track for your goal. And you will get your goal. But when you have doubts, you owe it to yourself to find that. Define what that doubt really is. You know, it's just like, okay, trains. Trains was running people over, so they put on a big old light and bells and whistles, and then trains still run people over, so they put up those little gates that come down and flashing lights and all of that, and trains still run over people.
Maybe it ain't the trains.
No, it is the trains, because trains and people don't go together. So, if you build a bridge, so the people doing their thing can't come in contact with the train. So there's always a root cause, and there's always solutions.
Yeah.
And those solutions will get you to your goal. You just got to change your way of looking at stuff sometimes.
You know, let's go back to Sunday. You know, we did have a person that contacted us, and we offer prayer support. And in our organization, Velda, who's the prayer, she has a background in religious science, the science of mind.
Mm-hmm.
Mind, not the external miracles. And even Reverend Bruce Kellogg this is Sedona. People get very attached to. Well, Bruce would say, well, I don't get too involved with phenomenon. Okay. So she just used the word phenomenon, move on, because you have to be careful. Oh, wait a minute, I do that. I've been doing this for years. And what I view, and I learn to tread lightly, but the magical thinking. That's kind of what pulls me more to the Buddhism. And just, the Eightfold Path, to me, that's okay. It's like a good little rule book. You have your top 10 might come from Moses. Well, Buddha had his top 8. Okay, right livelihood, right speech. Just check yourself. Check yourself. And there's no worship to anything, no deities, but now we know they have deities and gods and things and turned into religion. But you have this building where these two people, road musicians, itinerant road musicians in an RV, which I still can't fathom how they didn't kill each other all these years on the road. But you see Kimberly Kelly popping up, 67 years old, popping up in Cottonwood, Arizona, and they decide to open a spiritual community.
Right.
And without a master plan, without a template, without a blueprint, just open the doors, everybody could come in, let's just see what we do with this. Right. We have people deep in prayer, and I know from Peggy, she invoked the person we prayed with, she invoked Holy Spirit. I quietly, when I got the request, said, okay, that's kind of speak to probably some Christian background, but that's fine.
Right.
It's a word, it's just her word. Right. Like God, Spirit, the great breath, the deep wind, any way you want to call that, the source. Yeah. Well, Gary, 10 years ago, I walked into a unity community, and I was just a miserable mess, and I was on my path to change. I'm going to do it myself, naturally, because there are not people around me that I trust and comfortable with. I'm going to change myself, right? So I'm just going to write my own book. I'm going to meditate by myself, and I'm going to do some things. I'm just going to be different. Right. It didn't work out so well. But I walked into a community, unity community. And yeah, you get beads and things like that, and people hug you and stuff. But the minister 10 years ago, I won't mention his name, but he has a background in recovery, 30 years as a unity minister. He was rough. He's like a Zen man. He was rough. He didn't like, he would never compliment you. You walk by, say hello, he'd actually ignore me. But the thing that I learned from a little book called Lessons in Truth by a lady named H. Emily Cady. She was a Unity teacher. They don't have ministers, they don't have churches.
Right.
And Unity was just a little movement that a couple of self-described Christian mystics in Missouri decided to create a...
125 years ago they made it.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with it.
1889, I think, when they started. But the beauty is a story. Two people, just trying to create something. But when I came in, I sat for a while, like I do now, and, watching all these people do this work. I can't sit in a room, watch people doing a whole bunch of work on my behalf for me, and just say, "Oh, that was nice. Here's $5," and go home and revel in my experience. I needed to get to work. I needed to get involved.
Right.
So, the same person who was not overly friendly to me. So, at that time, to be a member of this community, they wanted you to be around. Unity generally wants you around 6 months. Be attending. It shows a commitment. Read the texts, learn about them, understand, and then have an interview with the minister who wants to know why you're here. Why you're interested. Because when you become a member of a community, they often own property, as this one did. They own a building. And you get to vote on matters of finance. But he's given a little conversation. I read the Unity book, which actually didn't really resonate with me, but Emily Cady's book, Lessons in Truth, is about this big. Like I said, this is like second grade primer. I don't know about this one. I opened it up, but I wanted some background before I walked in the building for the first time. I wanted to see what this was. And smart lady as she was, she wrote in her opening blurb, I ask you to do only one thing. Read the whole book before you pass a judgment. Hey, that's pretty smart. I gotta have to read it and process your words and think about it before I respond to it. But I buzzed through this short little book, and I don't know, a couple chapters in, there was one that struck me. It says, "You cannot do this alone. You must have community. You cannot go into the spiritual place, re-alter your things, because you're pretty much who you are anyway, is what I'm taking away. You're that big bundle ball of your own experiences and such. You're locked down. There's other energy out there. Open yourself to it."
Right.
When I did that, things opened up, but I had to prepare for that. And the first thing I did, and this is how spiritual, God, prayer over people.
Right.
I gave my TV away. I unplugged it, watched that last episode of The Sopranos. That last episode, because I would watch The Sopranos during the day, going, I must have more of a purpose in doing this. But I was really stuck in a family caregiving thing. Got it out of there, got that noise out of it, all commercial. Look around, you get a little music. I don't even have a big monitor because the depth of the feedback and all the stuff that comes at you that permeates your head. And we used to talk about the boob tube back there when we had three networks.
Right. And it signed off at a certain time of the night.
Yep. You woke up with that test pattern.
Yep. I remember.
But now we're in this place where the complexities, all these messages, and everybody's shooting these different messages up in the spiritual industry, which I call it here in Sedona. And I don't want to be condescending, but I've been pretty involved with a lot of things here. I've seen some things that I think have authenticity, and I see an awful lot of people trying to monetize basically a story that's maybe repackaged and retold in a different form of mine or such. I see men like you, men like Arvo, women like Kimberly. You're not doing that. You're not telling me I made all this up of my own imagination, buy this book and follow this, and here's my 10 ways or 40 days to this.
Right.
It's all the same stuff, and it comes from here, and the point is your willingness.
There's real people out here.
The willingness of people that are looking for something else and open to do something different.
Yep.
Maybe even believe something different.
Yep. I'm
64 years old, and if there's another lesson in my life, this one will serve me. That I learned that.
Right. Well,
that
as long as you live, you're gonna keep getting lessons. But
the other lesson is when you're out hiking around down where other people aren't. Don't get too comfortable. You land on both knees.
Right.
And Gary, 2 days ago, when we were talking about experience. I went down, I had mentioned to you before we started, go over, across the freeway to the Barbie Ranch where the petroglyphs are. Little bridge. I went down there 1 minute from the car. Oh, just about 20 feet down a path, there's a nice sedimentary rock formation right under the bridge. And it's orange and it's yellow and it's colorful. Wow, 10 feet below that, if you just slide down, you get into the creek.
Okay.
So I just kind of, okay, but it's only, you kind of slide down, so it's really about a 3-foot drop. So I slide down there. I walk over there, it's quiet. Occasional car, which is kind of rustic on an old bridge. So you just hear the, the concrete. I sat down, oh, this is too dark. I get up and I turn around. I think I'm being mindful. I'm at peace. The word is quiet. I go, and I don't take it lightly that I'm my age and not sitting in an office with somebody calling me, giving me a bunch of noise, and
right.
I have that freedom. And next thing I know, I'm on the way down. And I hit hard, both kneecaps, elbow, and you have that 10 seconds of self-inquiry, triage, broken bones. The first 10 seconds, because I hit hard and I was starting, okay, then that other 20 seconds of what's the pain going to be? And I was hurting, but I'm kind of looking around, and the thought is, I'd be just about flat, and they would have had to transport me. All the guys climbing down through the rocks down in the creek, having a whole lot of work for a whole bunch of people, and I'd be in a newspaper over a second of mindlessness, second out of mind. But the beauty was, Gary, even in my pain, and I got racked with a wave, not fear, a wave of, oh my God, you almost punched your ticket. You came close, maybe not death, but there are all kinds of bramble. I'm amazed I wasn't impaled on something, because I went just so quick I couldn't even process it. And I could hardly breathe, not because something bad happened to me, but because something so enormously good happened to me. I was blown away, absolutely, once more. Guides, God, spirits, angels, something out there, I've just accepted, in my view, that there's a positive flow, like a river. Yeah. I think the universe, I know radiation exists. I've read books. I went to school. They tell me. My friend's a nuclear physicist. I wouldn't understand a word he told me, but I trust through other people, evidence-based processes, data. I trust, that we have photosynthesis, we have oxygen, and I trust that there's an energetic flow that perpetuates life. I don't know how to explain it. It gets way beyond my pay grade and probably everybody else's.
Right, but you don't have to explain it.
No,
it exists.
Why?
All you have to do is just acknowledge it. It already exists. It's here. It's doing it.
Yeah. You don't have to read the label on everything. We trust it.
Right.
Now, if it's a chocolate chip cookie out of the grocery store, maybe. But, I constantly hear people, even people I respect, going to the higher path. Even Arvo reaches out with his Lion's Gate and things. I'm kind of, astrology, I dabble, I took a little look. I want to be informed that somebody I respect who's doing this work, where they are. Not so much where I am. I honor it. I don't try to criticize it. I respect Arvo and his background. I'm not deep enough in the subject. I don't have enough years left to go there. Not that important, but I honor it.
Right.
I honor it because I honor him.
Right. And you accept that.
Yeah. Yep. And it's not like, well, that sounds kind of funky. There's that ego wants to parse everything down. Right. But when I was in the Unity community with that minister, it was hard. And we actually did 12 Wednesdays, 12 steps on ego. Ego's Anonymous, he called it. And all about the little things that rub us wrong. And I remember people were talking, we had 50 people circled around this room. People were chiming up. And I'm not a guy normally to bring my stuff. Right. What I've had to learn is my stuff might actually be a gift to somebody else. And if I offer my stuff, you do it appropriately and not all about me. Right. Somebody might resonate just like I might resonate with that oddball thing that somebody had no idea was meaningful.
Right.
to me. But people were coming up with all this large stuff. And I stood up, I still remember this. It just, not like I was called to speak, but it permeates my being. What I said was, I stood up and I said, and I'm still trying to learn how to open the door at Fry's or to let somebody in and not have this little voice quietly saying you're welcome when they don't say thank you for something they didn't ask me to do.
Right.
And I used that example, and then I said, because what I've realized is I'm a hater of haters, I'm a bigot of bigots, which makes me a hater.
Right.
And a bigot.
You got it.
Makes me a hater and a bigot. People, whoa, oh, no. It's okay to hate bad things. Translation, it's okay to hate what we don't like. My Bernie bro friends in California, the younger ones, they hate Hillary Clinton's guts. And they're not afraid to say it. And then people over there, other side of a coin, they hate Hillary Clinton's guts. They're not afraid to say it. I'm going, well, y'all sound like the same thing. Let's just turn down the volume.
Right.
And see this.
And that's the message that I tried to give the group when I told them about some of my activities when I was younger. I saw myself being them. And I knew that was wrong. So I looked for a way out. And I realized that the system that I live in this country was designed to keep me down. It was designed
as a
that
black
way.
man?
Yes. There's no way in hell I'm supposed to come out of this okay. So I said, okay, I'll develop my own game and I'll play my game. And I was able to do that. And I negotiated my way up and out of my circumstance.
Do you know an example that comes to you? That might not resonate with you. It's kind of my music background and commercial music. As I came up in Northern California in the 60s, I remember Black Power movement, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X.
I'm a Malcolm fan.
I remember,
Okay.
you know, I remember, but I wasn't educated into it. My brother was more sophisticated. He's at San Francisco State. I don't want to say too much more. I'll just say he was involved in the anti-war movement. Now works in Washington, D.C., so in nonprofit on sustainability. But he was back in the day. I was like 13. But I did get Martin Luther King. I do remember as a kid, just on TVs. I do remember wherever I was exposed to the fire hoses and police dogs. And,
that was rough years, man.
Bridge, things like that.
Rough years, man.
All you know is this is absolutely inhumane, and what you're seeing is those are white people and those are black people, and they have guns and dogs and stuff and fire hoses, and those people, older women with handbags and big hats and stuff and heels dressed for church, and they're getting the shit beat out of them.
Yeah.
There's something really wrong with this picture, you know. So I came up with that kind of sense of social justice within, you know, and that turned into man, you know, just man. But the culture, the Black Power culture, the movies, the black exploitation film, I hate all that
I
stuff.
know, man. Me too.
And what I'm going to say is, growing up in San Jose in the suburbs, not the city where you have that full-on in-your-face city, not the country where you've got a different culture altogether, but it kind of that blending, kind of watered down. I had an AM radio, and there was a lot of violence in my house. My stepdad says in the room a lot. But man, the music, the message you'd be getting from the South, you know, the mix. I was just permeated with black culture, and you know, I don't claim African American culture. It's not my voice. It's not my culture. So I try to. All I can speak is what I grew up with. Boy, did it inform me musically, culturally. And I had no idea, because it was as normal. You didn't realize the plight of people. I didn't realize what people were going through to get in a recording studio, or what was going on in their lives, or how they're, even the big guys at the top. I didn't know they were fighting Barry Gordy for their paycheck.
Yeah.
But it just, all these glimpses have allowed me to be really comfortable with people. It's not my story, but it's a story. And then I realized, wait a minute, you know, people, African Americans have been here longer than almost everybody. If you walk down the street and you see an African American they're probably better than 80%. I don't know all the numbers. I had them when I was an American Studies student. Better than 80% chance that family was here before the 1800s.
Right.
Because of slavery, we buy you, bring you over. After that, nobody comes.
Right.
Whereas America, we had this massive influx from Eastern Europe, 1900s. There's probably better than 85% chance that that person's family has not been here since prior to the 1900s.
4 generations max.
Yeah.
Where ours is 10 and 12.
Yeah. And yet the shots are...
We're more American than most people.
But I see people fighting to preserve this culture, making it great. I'm not going to go any names or go down that path, because let's forget the politics or the category. I'm a Republican, I'm a Democrat, or I'm a Christian. No, those are words, those are labels. And okay, we can identify you because you identify with that, so we'll park you over there. But in reality, we are human beings, and as you say, we have the capacity to rise above the personal hate. And I think we have the tools. We have Oprah, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I was back at like my mom's time. No, you couldn't express. When I was a kid, and we'll go back to the heavy topics. When I was a kid, where it was pretty white, where I was, but my family's from Oakland, and so before the war, Oakland was considered an Irish town. They ran the town, and San Francisco. The power. You notice I say the people calling the shots, not everybody, but the people running the joint.
Right.
Irish town, they ran it. Then World War II, had a lot of people running, to work in the shipyards, conquered weapons stations, with 200 sailors. And the dirt work, of course, that's how it worked. But it defined a culture because people lived. And then the war ended, people were living here. It's a whole different dynamic. And I kind of grew up in that, around that. So I didn't think much of it. But I also was raised kind of in the suburbs and not being touched by the racism, not being physically, not seeing it in my face. Wasn't common for me to see some old lady walking up to somebody and calling them a nigger. I didn't see it in my face. What I did see is the schoolyard saying, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Okay? And I remember singing that when I was a little kid. I look back at that now and not even having the slightest idea that that word was connected to a human being. It was a little schoolyard chant. And then in like my high school times, which were rough, I dropped out of high school. I had really violent, rough home, and it wasn't working out. But people would say things like whiten up, things like that and such. So you still kind of go, and at that point, I would never, my friends that were black, I couldn't conceive of using the word, but it wasn't my household or my church.
Right.
It was just kind of growing up vibing of what's right or wrong, and the underlying theme is just how you treat people.
Yes.
I mean, human dignity.
Yes.
And to this day, I have trouble comprehending a depth, but then I also know that I don't, I'm not the union fighting the management. I wasn't sharecroppers fighting the landholders. I wasn't, I didn't have that experience.
Right.
But I can be sensitive, and I think hopefully aware enough to shut up when I'm hearing the other experience and recognizing when something is large for somebody else.
Right.
Regardless of what it is. And that's a lot of me here.
I hear you, and that has to go one step further, I think. Not only once you see it, you gotta do something. We have on out on my little patio, we have a little coffee table, and it's got 3 Buddha. One got his eyes covered, one's got his ears covered, another one's got his mouth covered. Okay, and that reminds me, if you see something wrong, you gotta do something. You can't just say, well, I ain't seen that. I didn't hear that. You got to do something. We're people.
I'm processing that.
What happens to me today may happen to you tomorrow if you allow that.
you know, Gary, we're speaking truth here, and the reason I said quietly is because silently I was thinking, do you stand up every time you see the
Every
wrong?
time
And the
I
answer
see
is no.
that shit, I stand up, and sometimes I catch so much hell, but I stand. I will help other people. That's what I think I'm doing.
Thank you, because I do, you know, I'm cribbing, man. I'm
Okay.
scooping stuff up from you. I will grab mentor. I've told people that, you told my audiologist, I will crib mentoring from anybody. No, that doesn't put you on the spot because I didn't ask you permission. I just scoop up the wisdom because that's what wisdom is. And I realize that I do stand up, but what I don't do is always call it. I usually do something about things, but very often I don't call it. I tend to maybe watch, get a little more background, tend to be the watcher. And sometimes you're going, that moment went by and it required somebody to speak to it right then and there because your opportunity is gone.
Right.
Your opportunity
When it's
is
gone, you just
can comfort people for the damage.
Right.
But, and the flip side is though, I do realize
And
this injury, because I'm processing right now in what you said and actually kind of reversing my course. I am the guy that you give people, strangers, you give somebody in Starbucks a bad time, I'm on them. Give me a bad time, I'll probably roll with it. And it's not that I'm timid, it's just I've kind of learned to kind of roll with people and pick and choose and not let people get me on my mount.
Right. Because confrontation, just for the sake of it, there's no point in that. You don't have to win every argument. You don't have to argue. People can believe what they want, but if you see wrong, and you could call the police, call the police. You know, if you could step in between something and stop it, step in between something.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
That's just that kind of stuff. People kicking dogs, don't kick a dog in front. Oh, don't ever do that in front of my mom. She's like 91, she'll rip your face off.
Yeah, something that stopped it. Okay, even if something as benign as a statement like that.
Yeah,
everything works. It just be there. Just be. I think I decided as a teenager or something that I wanted to be honest, and I realized in being that I was going to have to decide what was my truths versus other people's truths. So I kind of I danced this little dance, and I'm going down this little road, and I said, okay, I can be me, because that's the most important. Because I bring my character to.
You're an expert at it.
I bring it, and I got to be honest, and I got to find a way that we both can benefit. You know, and I do my thing. You know, and I feel comfortable at that. That's why I felt comfortable when Arville, I had Arville at my,
Let me read this thing. So on the Facebook thing, this whole thing of media and friends, the reason I ask is it does have such a large field, and the way I use it, like I'm not even on CUL with our ball. I'll probably get around to that. But I would post things like this. I would post this on my Facebook so my friends see kind of what's going on with me. Most of them, 3/4 of them, haven't met me, but we've had great long conversations about stuff. It's not about, oh, he said something, I got another 8,001 people in my list.
Right.
Although, now you start going to, you start to monetize this. This is where your followers and friends come in. You start to monetize it going, oh, you have 20,000 friends? Here's your check. Like YouTube. And there's a good and a bad in all this. I mean, people with YouTube, this brings up another topic. Those of us that teach or coach or do personal work for people, and we put a lot of time and effort, and we do process how much more we could do for monetized, revenue. But then, do we ship to become this. I'm going to be the YouTube star, and I don't know. I was making a cake and farted or something, and people thought that was hilarious. I'm pretty analog, and I haven't been able to crack that now that I'm getting too deeply into it. But the ability to offer your message, that part there, in amongst all this, and I've asked some enthusiastic people, what is the purpose of Facebook? Well, it's because you can connect with people on that. No, the first purpose of Facebook was to sell advertising and make money.
Yes.
It's a purpose. How does it do it? It does it by this process.
Right.
But the purpose, all these people aren't doing all this stuff for free, and they're not showing up in their cubicles for nothing.
Right.
And it's really interesting where their money comes from, in terms of the things you're saying. But yet, being said, there was part of me that says, well, if you want your stuff out there, and when people look at you, that is one way to do it.
Yep, you've got to use the tools that are available.
And I think if you can moderate and mediate some of the stupid stuff.
Right.
But that's why I was curious. So you
keep
can make me a YouTube star today, and I'll bow and cash a check.
Right. and that's cool.
You gotta have goals.
Right, you got to. And part of mine is using the tools that are available. And that is available.
Yeah.
And it's, that's my phone.
Gary, let me ask you, what would your hope be? We've had a conversation, you've had a couple of others on YouTube, and I liked your introduction. That was pretty clear. What would your hope be with this?
That other people see it and take away something from it and want to contribute to it in the form of responding to your blog and maybe contacting me and asking for a voice too, and us forming a collective of like-minded people who are interested in growing and being legitimate and understanding, because these are the golden years. We don't have long. You know that. We don't have long.
Us individually or collective humanity here?
Us individually.
Okay.
We don't have long. My culture, us males don't usually live to be 70 like I am. Okay. So I realize we got limits. So I want to do as much as I can for as many people as I can. This is my way to help. If you remember one of my first talks up there, and I said, if I had a wish, I wish I had the ability to help more people than I was doing. And I found this idea. That's my magic wand.
There's your magic wand.
Thank you, brother.
Winnie the Pooh will answer all your requests in a very special way.
Right. And this is a way for me to help. To give people a voice. Let them speak out. Because we all sit there and we listen to the speaker of the day, or this is what's going on in the week, and every one of them has comments.
Yeah.
But there's no platform for them. So I'm trying to do that. Trying to provide you.
Then, in that case, Gary, for anybody that views this video, what would you ask them to do?
Contact me, and I will help them get their voice.
And how do they reach you?
Online.
Okay.
And I am Tao of Cottonwood.
Tao of Cottonwood.
.com. One word, taoofcottonwood.com.
And if you're watching this far, you know it begins with a T.
Right.
Or you wouldn't be watching this conversation.
Right. And hopefully they will comment on some of the videos that were already up there, because we all have value. We all have something to offer. It's a giant stew, and we bring our spice with us. We
Yeah.
bring our meats and vegetables, and you know, we all bring something, and we can all take away from that.
And there's enough to go around.
Oh yes,
Enough
you
for
know.
everybody.
Dude, so you know, and hopefully, I'm going to grow in the process. I'm learning with each person that I meet, and I'm growing, and with luck, they're growing from my encounter with them. Okay, so it's a two-way growth thing, and I love it. And that's all I'm after here is this is my way that I can help.
So it's symbiosis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is it for me. I can't cast a spell. You know, I can't walk on water. I can't do them things.
You know, Gary, you're in Sedona. You have a credit card for $5.99 this weekend. That'll be handled.
Okay.
And you'll get a lovely CD.
Okay, to go with
book to take home. No, I say there are some outstanding people in this area. You know, I say that playfully. There are.
I know.
We get all.
I love them too, man. I love them, and maybe they can do those things, but I can't. And I have to be honest to me. I have to do what I can do, and I can reach out to my fellow person.
Yeah.
And I can offer friendship, love. I can offer them a voice right
You can
now.
also offer them your energy. Because
I
you saw that it was there.
I saw
bubbled
that.
up, ready to go. It just needed for somebody to pull the trigger.
I saw that, and that was amazing to me.
You know, Gary, I was in a Unity community. This is about 4 or 5 years ago, and I'll just say, as a person, very charismatic speaker, and yeah, the person has all these skills and powers and a lot of I don't want to say humble bragging, just a lot of things point out. Anyway, there was speaking on something. There was a person sitting there, a young woman that was just having a rough time in her whatever it was. I happen to notice because I was part of the house, and you know, I tend to in my chaplain work there. I watch people. You kind of see it. You can see who's struggling. Look on their face, and so she was just starting to lose it, and she started crying. And this man just immediately jumped out, and he just put his hands on her head like this. And something was said. We all knew what to do. I mean, this is Sedona. Everybody just closed their eyes and sent energy towards that woman. I sat here and I opened my eyes, and you know, I work with energy. I've been trained. I've done 3 levels of Reiki, but I taught to teach it, but I'm not so on board with the Reiki does everything, the Reiki does this, the Reiki does that. I think I go a little more universal life force energy, but I opened my eyes a little bit, Gary. I had to like halos, waves, pulses of energy coming right at me.
Right.
Now the thing was, I even told the leader of our chaplain program was a pediatrician. So he's allopathic physician, emergency room background, with a background of energy healing. And I said, I don't know if my ophthalmologist will really think highly of me seeing halos.
Okay.
But the energy I could not deny. Now, the thing was, it got kind of shifted to where this man's action of putting a hand on somebody's head, said, no, it had nothing to do with that. It had to do with 140 people who were asked and tasked, and through what they had,
Right.
whatever they had in them, in this moment they were tasked. And the reason 140 are sitting in this room was for spiritual gathering.
Right.
So we were open to it.
Like we
And-
did with Peggy.
Yeah, like
Yep.
we did with Peggy, and here we
Right.
had about 8-10 people,
Right.
and all they did was open their heart and throw the best they had and point it to this woman in
And I felt it.
the way that they knew how to do it.
Right.
Just as you did, just as I did.
Right.
Some prayed, some just went inside, some were silent.
Mhm.
I read Peggy's letter to us.
I saw that.
Yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
you know, y'all, for any latecomers, might be good to know what people are asking for.
Right.
But that's all it took. And she did reference the Holy Spirit.
Mhm.
So there's some Christian.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, whatever.
I'm
that's
cool
her
when
language.
people believe in what they
Yeah.
believe, because that's the thing that I'm pushing.
Yeah.
Belief.
And we threw something at her. What she received, that's her part of it.
Yeah.
And we'll see if she wants to come back for more. We'll offer it. And you walked into an unfamiliar situation, something that's a little bit out of your comfort zone, and maybe, like we use the word prayer, and we get into stereotypes. Oh, it's this, and you're praying over somebody for their soul, or no, it doesn't. That's your language. Call me a Republican, or Democrat, or progressive,
or asshole.
I might surprise the hell out of you.
Right.
Yeah, you call
Right.
me a knucklehead. But these are just words.
Yes.
Just the language.
Yes.
But the heart and the power. Yeah, I do believe there's something out there, and the way I was told, what brought me into this, and I'll go back to that Unity Church with that hard ass minister. I'd walk up to him and say, hello. He'd look right to me and talk to the next person when I came in. Your ego was going, I don't like this.
Right.
Mine said, okay, we're going to go Zen. I'm just going to say he's a Zen guy, and that's how they do. You go to Japan, you ain't going to get a lot of love and warm, fluffy stuff. But in my interview, and he was talking about something, I looked and said, does this mean, in my ignorance, that I will be, or in any way, be listed on any kind of a list anywhere as Christian?
Right.
It's Unity, okay, as they call it, practical Christianity. He kind of, he just started kind of quietly melting down a little bit. My question, but I wanted this in writing, man. I wanted this in writing. What am I signing up for here?
Right.
But Gary, he looked at me and said, all you have to do is believe in something greater than yourself. Period. Punctuated period. Stop. I've carried that with I've had conversations because people they want to lead into something, spirituality, God. No, just believe in something beyond yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That needs to be a good thing.
Right. I hear you.
Enough is enough.
I hear you.
Does that work? Works for me.
It works kind of for me, but I believe in myself because the other is way beyond me. Your cell phone, the camera, you look at it, and like I was up at the Grand Canyon in July, and you're looking at that and you're saying, this is awesome. But then if you look and you draw your attention away from that image and you see what's around you, that image don't do nothing to what's the magnificence of what's here. And that image represents what we can perceive of what's around us. And I know it is weak because we can make equipment that detects stuff that we can't perceive, but our equipment can. So
infrared.
It's all sorts of stuff out there, and I'm looking at this image saying, oh, this is just so cool, but it don't have smell. It don't have the wind blowing on you, the sun on your skin, that feeling you got when you seen something that is so old and so inspiring that you don't have words,
That would qualify as greater than myself.
Okay, well, that part, I know there's nothing I can do with that except acknowledge it. And the only thing I can do beyond that is work on me. I have no control over nobody else on this planet, but I got me. So that's what I preach. That's my message.
And you have the ability to influence people. And you're doing it. I've seen you in action.
I tried, man. I tried.
You're still standing.
I tried.
And we are, I say we. I have initiated myself into the group down at CUL, not as a congregation. I see two people, Arvel Bird and Kimberly Kelly, just trying to spend some time doing something good, giving some people some good and sending them out. And if they can pay their rent out of that, that would be outstanding.
Yes.
But that's their mission, is just, and they're open and they're learning how it goes. And we sit here kind of in the ground floor was saying, we get to support
Yes.
a couple, and man, they're they've cleared out their vehicles and their bank account and everything to do this, so they mean it.
Yeah.
And they give us a platform, a starting point to maybe refill our cup and go out there and do some good work.
And there lies the scary part for me, is because I was holding meditation groups at my trailer park where I live, and a couple of Buddhists and some shaman friends of mine, and Herschel and Linda.
Yeah.
We all met there in my little clubhouse once a week, and Harville and Kimberly moved into our little RV park there. And then they came, and before I knew it, they told me about their thing, and Harville came back and asked me to come there. And when I got there, Harville gave me the microphone. And then Harville asked me the next week, you gave me the microphone. So I say, well, obviously he thinks I can help them as artists. And so I said, okay, if I have the opportunity to help, I'm going to help. So I put a little more into the structure of what I was saying to my message to get to people. And I'm loving it that I'm helping him and he's helping me grow as a person. I'm getting my spirituality. I'm understanding my role there, and I can help some people. And I'm loving this, man. This is just too cool. I'm glad for them.
Can't make this stuff up, can we?
No, no one would believe it.
They
Come
have
on,
control,
man.
and then people, I showed up a year ago in July. I was over here dealing with, I landed here because of, I'll just say a long path with my mother, who's now 91 and a half, an aging path. That's a great conversation for another conversation, because aging is, boy, it covers it all.
I know.
It definitely covers it all, and we're all dealing with it. But I walked in and I saw a man, first week, he was speaking about the lone wolf, about himself. I go, I get this, and he's kind of being vulnerable, and he's, taking some of his armor off. And then I think 2 weeks later, I came back and he talked about having gone, I didn't know much about him. When I learned he's Glenn Campbell's road fiddler, wow, okay, I'm on board with this guy. If you can roll with Glenn Campbell, then you're in. But he talked about Arvo will go do gigs. His fee is $2,500. So if you want him at your wedding, he might cut you a deal, but next event. But then he has to pay musicians that show up and buy their plane tickets and things like that. But he came back and was telling the story of losing $500 or $1,500. I just quiet. I think Paul Worm is probably fighting urge to look back at his life, because the way he described his kind of spiritual path. I don't think it's probably that spiritual that week. It probably was hell week in his house. $1,500 is a lot of money. Found it in his shoe at the end of the week.
Okay, what lost?
Yeah, and he melted this into a spiritual thing. I'm looking back and I said, I was that night of the living dead that week in that house.
And he really doesn't charge that kind of money. I've seen him come to Linda and Herschel's RV, and he played for us. And I sat there with him. He played for us a good half hour. We're neighbors.
He's a musician.
He came to, I guess, to cheer Linda up because of what she was going through. So he's got heart, and I don't care what anybody says about him. That man is trying to do something to help.
I'm not aware of anything else that would be said. If he's trying to make his name and build his empire, he's going about the wrong way.
Right, because he was better off on the road.
I've actually been in a community where somebody came in and changed everything up, DVDs and CDs. I'm a best-selling author. Well, how come nobody's ever heard of you? And the notion, and see here, act as if, put your stuff out. Whereas Argo's just trying to figure this out, and and Kimberly, but I think their spiritual, humane, and integrity foundation is rock solid.
Yes.
It's rock solid.
I
That's what I
believe
look
it.
for. You know.
I believe it, and I'm for honesty. I follow truth. And you can't throw a line of crap in front of me and expect me to buy it.
And nobody's expecting you to jump through the lion's gate. That's
Right,
your choice.
right.
You want to follow it.
Okay,
Gary?
so we're gonna bring this to an end. It's been a pleasure.
I told you I could roll some video here.